comment. There's a comment Les made, which was strength in numbers is way better than this album. So I pose the question to you, my dear panelists, as people who have listened to this thing as experts on these things. Sadly, let's not yet defend his words. As he said that it is better than that Sin is better than Vote. You came out and you said this is the S class.
Maz is bringing receipts.
The S class of in his catalog. This is the S class. Like this is the album.
After this, let's first go through our chat and delete. So you have too much evidence.
So I'm going to go with you first.
Yeah.
You're going to review this album. Your own opinion. When you come to what Les said, I just want you to rate this album out of. But anyway, I know where you put it. But going off your analogy of the S class, but you rate it out of Navio's albums. So I think now you're 6 albums deep, and then you also explain your S class situation.
Okay. Well, first of all, when Strength in Numbers came out, as a fan and as somebody that tries to listen with a very critical ear, I didn't quite enjoy it. I'm such a huge Navio fan. Who were the kids in high school they thought were wannabes because we're always Ngalo here. As people were vibing to their other Luganda stuff, for us, we're on the Navio train. So kids had a problem with us because they thought we're just trying to be wannabes. But I've been a fan since day one. So Strength in Numbers for me felt like, dude, come on, I need a lot of new music from you. Why are you giving me songs I've had before? So from a personal standpoint and from personal expectations, I think Vibes Out the East was, for me, it met every expectation I could ever want from a Navio album. And the reason I call it the S-class of Navio's career is because arguably the Mercedes S-class is the best car in the world. Forget Rolls-Royce, forget Bentley. In terms of it does everything you'd need in a car, and it does it very well. Like you'll not buy an S-class and feel like, but this pothole, I felt it.
Okay, what's that my question?
Or you'll not be in an S-class and feel like, but the S is not hitting me properly. The seats are not comfy. It does everything it's supposed to do.
Please, this is not your car show, please.
So, so when you get to Vibes Out the East, first of all, from the rollout, when he released the song with Sheena Skies, I'm like, okay. First time I was hearing of Sheena Skies, by the way. I'm like, yeah.
Even after Mbikwasa go with Flex the Pepper.
Oh, she was like, oh, that was older. Yes.
Yeah,
so first time I was paying attention to Sheena Skies. So I realized
she was rare.
So I realized I'm like, okay, Navio is on to something. Like this is a whole different vibe. Then he does Raha, jumps on that Amapiano and bodies the shit out of it. Then he releases the video. Guys are drifting in BMWs, the shipping containers, the dancers.
They had you at BMW.
I'm like, okay. I'm like, where is this going? And then he announces the date, and we're still there waiting. And I'm on Tidal. I go to pre-save the album. I noticed, let's do it is open. Yeah. I'm like, what? I play the song, and like Hassan said, it's like this song was made for me because it's just perfect in every way. And then I'm like, 1 to 3 songs, they're all new music. They're all top tier songs. What will happen when the album drops? We wait, the album drops, and it was just everything I'd hoped this album would be. And he takes it from giving you entirely new music to giving you proper collaborations, to giving you proper buzz. This was Navio telling you, the fans and the industry, like, in case you're getting a bit disrespectful, I'm the best to ever do it. Where he did bar for bar, nobody could match him. Where he tried to give you songs you could sing to, like, let's go to the club and dance here and there. He still did that. And
he had his making up for all the trash he said earlier.
Yeah, and when it comes to this album, like I've said before, everybody has more than 3 songs that you would say these are my songs. And for me, in terms of an album, that's a successful album. And when you look at the rollout, you look at the studio, the behind the scenes
Shout out to LNF.
The behind the scenes videos, then the photos that were released, then the bringing in Vidi from Kenya to do the collabos, and then you putting us on with you're bringing back Lily, and I know she's coming back with an EP, but you're bringing her back to us fully. Then you're bringing on the youngins, you're bringing Goom, you're bringing Kane. It shows that as the goat that he is, he's still in touch with the industry. He knows who's doing what's happening where. How do I package an album where I appeal to those who be like, no, we miss Navio who can rap. I can rap. That's there. Oh, Navio does not care about the new generation, but the new generation kids are here. Oh, Navio forgot us, the Luganda people. In the intro, he sampled an old Luganda song.
And then he has a couple of hooks as well.
And then, like, guys, how do you not find this album?
So who's on payroll now? He's always saying we have to time mark when he's talking about Cohen. Now, quarter.
Yeah, so in terms of this album ticks every box and ticks it well. And then when they go to the video for Let's Do It, you're like,
As in, shall we survive?
what is this? What are you trying to
They're
do?
oppressing us.
Yeah, and I don't think anybody this year will have a better album. And in terms of where I place it in his catalog.
You've already said S class, I tell you.
Yeah, but because you have some monumental albums from Navio, it's hard to make it number one because some of these legendary
Maybe until
albums,
later.
yeah, some of these legendary albums, we grew up to this music. This is music we relate to because we were just trying to, like, when you've been put onto something, it's like first time I discovered you, Garol, it was the best thing ever. So when you've been put onto like his earlier albums, it's hard. The sentimental value is hard for you to sort of push it below these vibes out the East. But in terms of where I place his albums, I think this is number 2. Number 1 would be
Because he has half the legend, African Hustler.
We've
Pride.
overrated his
number 1
albums,
would be
I feel
Pride.
like.
Number 1 for me would always be
Chosen.
Pride.
Strength in numbers.
Then Pride, Vote comes next. This album,
Okay.
my God.
Since Ian
First
has
play
said
for me that other
So
song,
it's,
but
it's a 10 out of 10 for
for
you.
me it's a 10 out of 10.
Since Ian has said everything,
Knocked it out the park.
I'll just try and focus on the few things he hasn't said, if there are any. Because in terms of the music and everything, like I agree with a lot of what Ian has said. In terms of the rollout, I agree with a lot of what Ian has said. So maybe the few things he might not have mentioned that I might hit on is one, the hooks. You know, I posted the other day because since we were talking versus strength in numbers, I looked at strength in numbers review and I saw the portion that was about the hooks. And like if Navio was a superhero, that would be one of his superpowers. If it was a rap superhero, because he gives you like a hook that is memorable, whether it's with a feature or it's alone. He has something to bring. And that was in every single song of Strength in Numbers. But then you get to this one, it's like, listen, don't think it was a mistake. Let me double down on that and give you fire on fire in every hook. No matter if he's alone, no matter if he's alone, he's like, this one, let me give you a grimy feel. Let me give you a vibe. This one, let me give you some harmonies and all, because I can. You understand? And I care about the music like that. This one, let me do this. This one, let me bring this person. Let me bring Akane to give me some again, 3 for 3 Akane. Let me bring some Akane to bring some harmonies in here and give us some fire and some ad-libs. This one, let me, like, every single time, like, the hooks were just on point. And for me, that's the easiest way to listen to every song on a project. If the hook has you hooked, like it's supposed to. And that was, for me, something really dope he did. Now, you mentioned keeping in touch with younger generations. So I've been listening to a lot of stuff that people have been saying, that is the younger guys on there, you know, little podcasts and spaces. And no, wait. No, there are many things. There's a podcast, a space, a what. Many things. Listen, wait, guys, focus.
Little one?
This is a moment.
Anyway,
We went to the island. So it's okay.
I've been listening to a lot of things that have been said.
They have to go to the moon.
If we're going to
Guys,
do a
chill. No, I've been listening to a lot of
Little
stuff.
podcast and spaces.
Tiwaine na data choka wa expenses.
Guys, wait. So I've been listening.
What Mark is saying, every once in a while, a key speaker drops off because
Yeah, key speaker.
the host band was expired.
The host and then the host tweets again. This is the new link. Because this is the new link.
I'm sick.
Guys, please join. We can't hear you. There's noise in the background.
Come again. You're breaking.
Anyway, so a lot of the podcasts and spaces I've listened to, guys be complaining about, the older generation, they want the whole pie to them. They want the whole pie to themselves.
The man has reduced the podcast to what some voice notes.
Guys want to keep the whole pie to themselves.
Man.
They forget to put on the younger guys. We'll see in Nigeria.
But how do you put
guys,
on,
seriously.
How do you put on the younger guys if they're still on Twitter Spaces without data? You're very disrespectful today. But it's fine. Go on.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Okay. So the thing is, if they can't give us, how do I say? If you're not putting in the work that puts you on the radar the right way, you're not going to be picked up on. Because guys were like, yes, finally, you see, even Navio has brought so and so and so and so. I'm like, yes, they won't bring all of you. They won't bring anyone. They'll bring people that are putting in work. Yeah. You understand? Because if we look at what we've said, he has a Kane, if we're talking younger generation. He has a Kane. Look at everywhere we've mentioned her appear, and that's throughout our season. This is a predominantly hip-hop podcast. We talk about Akane almost every episode because she has something to offer almost every episode. And that's without even doing the push to the full extent. I don't feel like she's even hit what she should be hitting yet. But I feel like with the effort she's put already, she's noticeable enough for them to have her on, right? Look at Lagoon. Just first episode, you were talking about we're ranking albums that we'd listened to in the layover, like when we're off between the last season and this one. And a lot of people had Legumes rated as their favorite album of that period. Yeah. Of which last season we had another Legume album to talk about. You understand? Of which he has others before. Yeah. So again, the features that he's done since, he appears, we've had him appear on Flex's album. He's here on Navio's. He's on the song we said with APAS and Melissa. Yeah. So, like, that presence and that being around, he's of course on Akane's projects, but like that being around, that makes you get noticed. And of course, he brings a different aspect. He's bringing probably a beat and a hook. Because, you listen to the sound of Navio's album, like, that's a familiar sound. That's a Lagoon beat. He gives you the hook as well, gives you the verse, we go.
Also, Doug Mizzo is on the album.
Doug Mizzo. Don't worry. I'm coming through. Doug Mizzo, we've been talking about it. Shout out to Doug for our intro rhythms. Doug killed that. And of course, Cold is easily one of the dopest tracks on that album. And it starts from the production value that Doug brings to it. And that is just crazy. But you see, again, he's been around. He's on Wonder's Gonja. He's on The Myth. He has a song with The Myth already before. He has,
I've forgotten that.
like, you see, like, he has that presence, and you're like, okay, cool. And Ian said harness production thing. He must have heard, because what the absolute hell was that? That was straight fire. Yeah. And then we leave and finally go to who? To the homie.
Oh yes, the homie.
And that verse is just a proper verse. And when we did the release party, Navio mentioned Bandale, R.I.P., passed away at 19. I think he did one take of the hook, and I think that was really dope. But like, I feel like if you're putting in the work, you're going to be noticed and people are going to want to work with you. Yeah. No one owes you that contribution of, oh, you're new, let me put you on just because I can. You understand? So put in the work, get on the radar, let people pick you because of that. Yeah. And that's just an extra something I'll say.
Yeah, and also it's the thing of putting in the work, it shows that there is no specific timeline. Because Akane has been here for how long, but see, she's putting in the work and see what the levels she's gotten to. So if you're there in your little podcast making noise and you're not actually putting in the work, you're not going to get to the levels and the stages.
What's interesting is it's a handful of this podcast.
So it's easy to know.
It's easy to know. which people are not putting in the work. However, Mark, out of Navio's catalog, where do you rank it?
Like, I feel like it's complicated because it's too soon. It's like Ian with Strength in Numbers. Remember how he was complaining about all this, and farther down the line, he's like, oh my God, this aged so well. Like, there's where you need that time to. So I feel like it's a great album. I think it's quite great. I play it a lot. But in terms of ranking it against the others, I feel like it needs more time for us to see those other factors that contribute to the success of an album as a whole. So I feel like it's too soon to rate it against the rest.
And then Lubowa's statement.
Oyo mutamivu. Although, yeah, I can, from his perspective, I can understand.
Yeah, you see what he's going for.
Yeah, I can see what he's going for.
Album.
Yeah, but well, we're looking at a properly consumable album that's made for everybody. I
think this is better.
For everybody in East Africa.
I think this is better.
You can't, anyone that tweet at me. Everyone has 3 songs that are their songs. If you have less than 3, tweet at me. I might abuse you, but tweet at me and tell me you don't have 3 songs on this album. You're just a liar.
I hope LNF puts Twitter handle here.
Put my Twitter handle here and they tweet at me. If you said you're just a liar,
Mans gave us price. Let me tell you, watching them perform at Smack League, watching Navio do Cold with The Myth, and before we'd listen to the album, and we were all, I know what's funny is I remember in the audience, like I'm up front already like turned, and then I'm like, what is going on? When he gets into Cold, a few seconds later I realize, ooh, Mutono is next to me. Where did he come from? After some time, like, ooh, EC is also here. Where did he come from? Like we all, like basically all the major hip hop fans or whatever just started turning up at the front because they were like, what is going on with this song? Yeah. And then when he brings out Price as well for FTF, oh my God. Guys were like, Price on stage with Nav, like this is just, everything was so, as usual, everything was very calculated by Nav. I'm sure, putting on Stogie T for this, putting on various storyteller for that, putting on the younger guys for this. Everything was calculated. Price for that, Eli Wamala for this. Everything was calculated. And Navio and his intros. Walai.
Yeah.
Walai. Every damn album. Navio is like, listen, we have to start it off right, not by mistake.
Chigozi.
Chigozi. Anyway, Navio that's another superpower, but we'll get around to it.